Synectics, a new ending to Of Mice and Men by Katie Brecky. Summary of Synectics. Synectics is designed to use analogies, metaphors, and power of personal imagination as tools for problem solving. So Synectics really is just using creativity to solve a problem. The purpose. Why do we use it? It helps students to see old ideas in a new way by creating concepts that are both familiar and unfamiliar, attach new meanings to familiar ideas, and foster a new enthusiasm for ideas. Topic and grade for this assignment. Topic, figurative language and narrative writing. Grade will be 10th grade, English 10, standards, reading literature. Point 4 will determine the meaning of words and phrases as they're used in the text, including figurative and connotative meanings. Literature. Point 5 demonstrate understanding of figurative language. So not only will students be able to determine what figurative language is, but also demonstrate it by showing examples from the novel, and then also having their own examples in their own writing later on. Standards continued. There are tons of writing standards that go along with this since I will be using the whole writing process. So writing point 3, write narratives to develop real or imagined experiences or events using effective technique, well-chosen details, and well-structured event sequences. So to go more in depth, D, use precise words and phrases, telling details and sensory language. So that's where the figurative language will really come in handy when they're writing that sensory language to convey a vivid picture of the experiences, events, and setting and or characters. Also E, provide a conclusion that follows from and reflects on what is experienced, observed, or resolved over the course of the narrative. So they will be rewriting the conclusion, the resolution to Of Mice and Men, and they will have to reflect on that experience, observe it, and resolve it. Writing point 5, develop and strengthening writing as needed by planning, revising, editing, rewriting, or trying a new approach. Like I said before, the students will be doing the whole writing process, so they will be doing peer critiques, revising, editing, and rewriting. W.6, use technology, including the internet, to produce, publish, and update individual or shared writing projects. The students will be writing their essays on Google Docs. I really like this because then the students can share right on Google Docs, and I can see what they actually wrote for their peer critiques on the student's paper right away, and then also it will be on there for the students to fix. W.7, conduct short projects to solve a problem. I think, like I said, Synectics is just using creativity to solve a problem. And the students will be using creativity to solve the resolution at the end of the novel and coming up with their own resolution for it. So learning objectives. To better understand figurative language, like I said before, they will be picking out examples from the text, and then they're going to defend their examples and implement it into their own writing. They're going to use their own creative ideas to solve a conflict and contrast the ending of a novel to develop their own resolution. Rationale. Why Synectics? Students have to use problem-solving skills to resolve the ending of a novel and think creatively by adding figurative language to their own writing. So I thought that this worked perfect for Synectics. Synectics 1, the contrast, works well. I chose that one because the students have to develop a resolution to the story that contrasts with the original. Materials that a teacher would need and set up. Figurative language notes, Of Mice and Men novel, and also come up with a resolution rubric. I would just be using my 6+1 traits and then focusing on the resolution, having that be more points. And then also with the word choice, focusing on that figurative language. Phases. So first we have our topic, figurative language and narrative writing. Next, our direct analogy. So in this part, the teacher hands out figurative language notes, And then the students open up to the last chapter of Mice and Men and each find an example of one of the figurative languages. Each student should be assigned a page or selection of the chapters so they all have a different example. The next phase, the third one, personal analogy. Students explain or defend why the example is the figurative language they picked and share with their group and then with the class. When they share it with the class, that's where I'll do the formative assessment. But during this phase, students should be able to figure out if their answer is correct by sharing with their group before they share with the class. The next phase, the fourth one, compressed conflict, contrast. The class discussion on the ending of the story. So the students will really get into how they felt about the ending of the story, because if you're familiar with the story at all, it has a horrible ending. And then the teacher will review plot structure, focusing on what a resolution actually is. And then students think of a resolution to the novel that contrasts with the original. The fifth step, the new analogy, students rewrite their own ending to the story with at least 5 different figurative languages. Students will type it on Google Docs in class, like I said before, and this will help them later with the peer critique process. I will also be using extra revision techniques, time constraints, and depth of paper will be determined by the teacher on each students' individual strengths. And that's the thing I love about writing assignments, is that you can really have it each work to each student's individual needs. So for example, if I have a student who's very advanced, I would look to try and push them even further in their writing techniques and adding more of those sensory details and descriptions of everything, where the student that struggles, I would focus more on the basics with them. The story will be a minimum of 2 pages long and a rubric will be provided. Like I said, I'll have a resolution rubric with the 6+1 traits. Then the 6th phase is the topic refocus. This goes with the peer critique. Students share their paper with a partner and the partner edits their partner's paper with the rubric and highlight and labels each figurative language. So again, they are also demonstrating that they know figurative language. And then students revise their papers and hand in as their formative assessment. This lesson, reflection. This lesson gives students the opportunity to rewrite the ending of a novel the way they want it to end. In so doing, students will contrast their essay from what the resolution really was, learning how to write a resolution for a narrative essay. And this will show their understanding of figurative language by creatively implementing it into their own essay. And I liked how the phrases broke it down. It made me clearly break up each step. It forced me to be more descriptive on what I expected of the students, and this in turn will enhance the students' finishing product.